Welcome back, everyone. It's time for episode 42 of the Horns Up Podcast, your weekly catch-up on all things metal. I am your host, Dan Kaplan, coming to you as always from New York. With me from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the man who met his metal hero and had no expression whatsoever to show for it. It's Corey Butterworth. Corey, how's it going?
That is a thing that happened. It's going really well. It's going really well, actually.
Your profile picture is a picture of that encounter with your metal hero.
And no expression whatsoever.
Yeah, I know.
I think I'm just...
I just fortunately, you cropped me out of it, which is the worst expression whatsoever. So yeah, we met Nurgle and Cannibal Corpse last weekend. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah, it's been a good run of form the past week or so. That was it was a hell of a show. Well, I mean, obviously we've talked about that. We probably will talk about it again.
Yeah, we'll touch on it a little bit tonight.
Yeah, but you know, Nurgle and stuff, and me pointing at him, and neither of us giving a fuck whatsoever. Even though inside I was crying like a child.
We have a net shitty expression because you had no expression, I had shitty expression. So 0 minus shitty equals negative shitty.
Well, would negative shitty be almost like a positive? Not in this case.
So,
not in this case. Either way.
So it wouldn't be. I misspoke before. I mismathed. It wouldn't be 0 minus negative shitty. It'd be 0 plus negative shitty. So therefore,
words now available in numbers because math.
Yeah, we can't do that. We're not good at words. Anyway, so that was last Friday. What's been going on since then?
I don't know. Weather's getting better. I went to Boston today, which was wonderful, and. Shit, I don't know. I'm drinking beers. It's wonderful. I'm drinking this H.P. Lovecraft Honey Ale by Narragansett. And normally Narragansett can kind of just generally go fuck itself, but this isn't too bad. It's neat, and it has H.P. Lovecraft on the can, which is okay with me, I guess. So I'm drinking, and I'm talking about metal. It's good.
It's funny because I always think of Narragansett as like bro beer, and the fact that they make an H.P. Lovecraft brew is just strange to me. I can't picture it.
I assume H.P. Lovecraft is from the area. I know he's a New Englander, I think, because he's popular here. Let me do a quick Wikipedia search because this is in college. I can use those things. He was born in, Providence, Rhode Island, not far from Narragansett. There you go.
Aha.
There you go.
There we go.
Mystery solved, team. Well done, everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's fun, and you've got a bit of a short week coming up. You're heading over to Detroit.
The other reason I'm in a good mood, exactly. Tomorrow, your guys' today. Your guys' yesterday, being Thursday.
Because space time.
Yeah, because space time. Thursday's my last day at work this week. By the time you guys are listening to this, I will be in Detroit, getting ready for a Detroit Red Wings game at the Joe Louis Arena, which is, obviously a huge deal for me. It's not as life goal worthy as last summer was with my trip to Germany, but it's something I've wanted to do as long as I've been a Red Wings fan, which goes back to like my preteen years. When I was old enough to understand what sports were. So it's a big deal. It's awesome. Going with my buddy, both Red Wings fans. It'll be a good time. So that's from right now at recording. It's about 28 hours away. So it's coming close.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So it'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, we had our nice little bit of warmth today. We melted some of the snow down.
Damn right.
Here in the city. It hit like 42, I think, at one point. It was all rainy, but 42. So I was like,
40s
some nice weather for a change.
40s and rain. It's going to get rid of that shit real quick. All good.
Well, and rumor has it. No, bear in mind we are supposed to get snow tomorrow, because of course we are. But rumor has it that next week we're supposed to be in the 40s all week. So nice. I am crossing fingers, praying to Satan, whatever, trying to make this a reality. But anyway, we're in Jeff Walker mode. Let's not talk about the weather anymore. Moving into some headlines for the week. Let's do that.
Okay.
I want to talk about something that came up in our quickies today, Wednesday, and it was something we see every week. Every week Metal Insider does the Metal by Numbers column where they talk about album sales and chart positions for metal bands, hard rock bands, you name it. And there was certainly some highs on the week. We had Torch, hitting I think number 56 on the charts. They had over 5,500 sales. Looking like AC/DC is about to go gold. Slipknot's close to 300,000. But, and I know we talked about this before, the number 2 album of the week with 135,000 sales. Who put that one out?
Kid Rock. God damn it.
Kid Rock.
God damn it.
Why are we still in a world where Kid Rock exists? Why and more than that, why is he still allowed to put out new albums?
Why is he being categorized in metal album sale categories? I have so many questions and so few answers.
Maybe Kid Rock has heard of heavy metal at some point in his life and thus is qualified to feature in a heavy metal column. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
he plays guitar.
I knew the genre was kind of all encompassing, but I didn't know it went to that level. Holy shit.
Next thing we're gonna see Coldplay in Metal by Numbers.
Yeah, Kid Rock isn't somebody I respect. He should probably just go away. But holy shit, he sold that many albums at a time when nobody buys these fucking things? Jesus.
Yeah, that's like 137,000 people that just have shit taste. Like, really? Why are you listening to this, people? It's like, sir, madam, I think you have a problem.
You're doing
people
it
who
wrong.
bought this album.
Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best.
No. No, not at all. Not at all. So, yeah, that's a thing. Kid Rock, 135,000 sales. Man, and there are talented bands out there that aren't getting half that in a week.
I know, and there are terrible bands that are actually selling things. That All That Remains album that we shit on 6 Ways to Sunday, yeah, 19,000. That's actually not god-awful for a metal album.
This is one thing I can say, though. Kid Rock, still better than All That Remains.
Oh, yeah, still better than All That Remains. No question about it. And
hashtag still better than ATL.
But dude, people like shitty stuff. I don't know. God damn it! Why don't people listen to us more?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like how else do you explain Bieber?
Yeah, right.
For like as long as he's been around, he's been in public consciousness for like 6 years now. Like, when is that little incubus going to go away? Yes, I just called him an incubus. I'm an old man. I don't care.
That was wonderful.
But anyway, Metal by Numbers, head on over to Metal Insider. Check them out if you want to just vomit your face off with the amount of shitty metal bands that are making good sales, and maybe have your heart warmed by the amount of decent metal bands that are selling things at all. So
for real.
Yeah. So next up, I want to get into now this is a story from late last week. It was actually probably came out right after we recorded last week's podcast, so we didn't get to talk about it. But I think it bears discussion here. News from our man, our Lord and Savior, Devin Townsend, who did an interview last week with Music Business Facts Podcast, which I did not know was a thing, but evidently it is. Music Business Facts Podcast. And Devin was discussing different ins and outs of the music industry, and the question of income came up. And, Devin is 42. He's been doing this thing for a while, pretty established in the metal scene. Ballpark it. Assuming you do not know what we know, Corey. 42-year-old guy who's been in the business for 25 years. What do you think? What do you think he's making?
Well, you have to figure at the very least, and I know sometimes metal musicians don't make, obviously, the big bucks, but you have to figure with somebody with his level of talent and what he's put out, because he puts out a lot of music and a lot of, hell, even live DVDs and stuff. You'd figure be at least in the six-figure range, right? I mean, it had to be at least $100K a year. You would assume.
No.
Right.
You would, but no.
Right.
He disclosed his annual income. He says he's making $5,000 a month before taxes. Less for the other guys in the band. If you do math, which we're okay at sometimes.
Better with numbers than his words.
Yes.
Just say it.
Case in point, Corey's sentence. Yeah. If you do the math, that comes out to $60,000 a year before taxes. And you can tell. I mean, when you look at a number like that, it's sobering, but it's also, you look at it and it's like, dude's really doing it because he loves music.
Right.
He loves the craft. He loves being able to play music professionally. Yeah, I mean, you're not like, it's hard to go into music these days and not have your expectations of ridiculous success just blown up in front of you.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and that's a big part of not necessarily the dollar amounts involved here, but that's a big part of why I've taken to metal so much over the last, decade and a half or decade or whatever it's been. It doesn't matter. As long as I've been listening to metal, part of it is because you can just tell on all levels that a lot of these bands and a lot of these musicians, it's all about expressing what they want to express, and the money and all that stuff, it's kind of a secondary thought. Popularity, all that stuff. So I'm glad these figures are released. I mean, it is extremely humbling, but it kind of, not necessarily numbers that low, but it kind of falls in line with what we already know about metal musicians, what it's all about, why they're doing what they're doing. It's fine. It really is, and it's just, I guess, a part of the game. We're gonna keep loving it. We're gonna keep talking about it. We're gonna keep binging on it, and that's as long as they keep doing it for the right reasons and for the reasons they're currently doing it for, that's all good. It's all good. Devin should be making way more, though. Devin should be making way more. Let me emphasize.
He absolutely should. But I guess it just goes to show you, not everyone is going to be able to be like, Metallica, right, and make more money than God, and then sue Napster because they're not making enough money, and refuse to give their new album out over iTunes because they want to make more money.
Yeah, but that's totally...
That was an actual statement, by the way. Lars, in his interview, where he the best compliment he could pay their new recorded stuff is that it's not that bad. Also said, yeah, we're not going to do any of that iTunes giveaway bullshit, blah, 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 blah. We're not going to pull a U2. It's like, of course not, because that would not involve you getting money.
All right, so here's the thing. That's totally fine. He can do whatever the fuck he wants because I don't respect him. But the thing is, guys, what really matters here? I mean, I love and I respect guys like Devin Townsend. I can't stand or respect Metallica Save My Life. What matters more to you, millions of dollars or my approval? I mean, come on, it's obviously the latter. Come on.
If it's not Corey's approval, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
Well, Devin, keep doing your thing, man. We're glad it's working out for you. It is absolutely working out for us as listeners. So we please encourage you, keep doing what you're doing. And it really shows. Yeah. It really shows. You know what? Because you look at it, and what you can see when you see Devin live, you can see the energy that he has for like just being able to get up there and play.
Right.
It's infectious. I mean, it's really like he carries himself so confidently and with so much pure energy and appreciation for where he's at.
That's 100% correct. And you know what? Almost to the same point, conversely, you can tell when he's maybe been in a long stretch. Like, I know we both went to the most recent tour with Animals as Leaders, and you can kind of tell he seemed a little more tired than normal. And that just kind of furthers that point that what he's doing is completely genuine. And that he's expressing as much energy and as much, he's putting everything into it than he can.
Yep.
And when he has energy and he's energetic, you can tell. And when he's maybe not that same level, you can also tell because it's just completely him. So it all falls in the same category, and it's extremely commendable. Is what I'm getting at. Yeah,
absolutely. Devin, if it were up to us, you'd be making a shit ton more than $60,000 a year,
right.
But we'll do what we can.
Already do.
Moving on from this freeform jazz headline section. In case you guys couldn't tell, there's a lack of real news going on this week.
Yeah, it's
not a ton happening. But moving on from headlines, want to touch before we get into new releases. Obviously, we mentioned before we went to see Behemoth, Aeon, Tribulation. Not Cannibal Corpse, but we did meet them last weekend in Boston. Now, we did do a full video review on the blog over the weekend. It is on there, hornsupmetalshow.com. Click on video or click on concert reviews, excuse me. And yeah, it's about a 15-minute video with us just going stream of consciousness. But I guess to sum up, it's a pretty damn good show.
I mean, it was a really good show. 2 out of 3 bands obviously really captured my attention, and the one that didn't, I was still just kind of like, okay, this is fine, which is a very, very good thing. Because usually a show with 3, 4, 5 bands, I'm into maybe half of them. I mean,
I'm sorry in advance. By the way, I'm sorry. Well, not in advance, but I'm sorry for all the people out there who have commented on the concert review and everything who got a little butt hurt over us not liking Aeon and Cannibal Corpse all that much. Sorry, guys. We're glad you do like them. Not our thing.
Not our cup of tea.
That's the beauty of the internet. We can have opinions.
And so can you, and we're not going to question you on yours. And that's totally fine. Aeon, I thought, again, they were fine. They sounded good. They brought energy. It was cool. Not my thing. I personally thought the songs were kind of repetitive sounding. even if the musicianship was impressive. Cannibal Corpse, I've never really cared about. It doesn't mean I don't like them. It doesn't mean they're not good. Again, just not my style of death metal. That's it. It's no more, no less than that. But let's just, if we're going to talk about this, can we just talk about the bands that were amazing a little bit?
Yes, let's do that.
All right.
Tribulation, man. Starting with the opener. I liked him. I still like him.
Yeah, dude. So
I was impressed.
They were really good. I got to swing down. I haven't really had a whole lot of success, and I was just gonna if I could, Bandcamp the most recent album or whatever. I also just kind of wanted to walk down and get the damn thing on my shelf because it was impressive. They brought they brought a lot of good energy. You could tell they were really really into the music they were creating in performing.
They brought a hilarious drummer.
They brought a hilarious drummer who had a corpse painted mustache. I mean, come on, that's the best thing of all time. And they had the personality that complemented the music pretty well because you could tell it was really, really, they're going for a dark, black and roll kind of thing, but you could also tell they didn't really take themselves that seriously, and it just made for an extremely entertaining set. It really did. Oh,
they were blessed. They were blessed. Two of the most effeminate looking guitarists in the world, but
who cares?
Yeah, we definitely paused a couple times to ask whether they were male or female. Couldn't quite
Still
tell,
haven't
but
gotten that far.
yeah, but
deal.
they kicked ass, so it doesn't really matter. Behemoth, then, yeah. I mean, what can you say? They just completely killed it.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful set. Nice mix of Satanist material, older material. We got Of Fire in the Void. We got Slave Shall Serve. We've got what the hell else? Chant for Eschaton.
Yep.
You name it. It was just a fantastic set. They brought the energy. They brought pretty ridiculous live show. It was tough to get pictures because of all the lighting and stuff, but it was a blast. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're rather theatrical and in the right way. It's over the top but just their presentation just matches their music so well. There's a reason I've seen them half a dozen times. It's just that simple. I mean, again, whenever they're anywhere near me, I'm gonna do what I need to do to get there. And this was just another example of it. I mean, what can I say? It was killer.
Yeah, they are. After this, they're one of those bands that I will go out of my way to see whenever they come through.
Yeah.
And then doesn't matter how many times I've seen them before. So
yeah.
Again, that tour is still going on. Our concert review on the blog has the remaining dates. I think it's going on through this Saturday. So by the time you hear this, you'll have one date left, and I think it's probably down in Florida. So if you're listening to this from Florida, yay. If you're listening to it from anywhere else, you should have seen them beforehand.
Yeah.
You may have. So yeah, check that out. hornsupmetalshow.com. Click on concert reviews, and give it a watch. We went into a lot more detail than we're doing now, but good stuff. Moving on, we got some new releases for the week. Want to kick us off with probably the highest profile new release that came out this week. Talking about Leviathan and their new 6th full-length Scar-Sighted. Leviathan, again, the Portland-based one-piece black metal band led by Jeff Whitehead, otherwise known as Rest. Corey, did you give this thing a listen? Or
Nope, rely on you, buddy.
I will take the lead then. Wonderful. So yeah, Leviathan comes about 3.5 years after Leviathan's last album, True Trader, True Whore. In that time, Jeff Whitehead, I'm just going to call him Jeff. I guess everyone knows him as Rest, so I'm just going to play the opposite card. Jeff. Jeff
funny.
It is. Jeff's been through a bit of controversy, just some criminal allegations. He was on the cover of Decibel last month, which attracted a bit of controversy around that. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the music. And good thing, the music is kick-ass. It's really dark, really brooding, just aggressive as all hell. If you guys were on the blog earlier this week, you probably saw Mania War, Zach, his review. He absolutely raved about it. He went out on a limb and called it an instant top 10 of the year. And it might be up there for me too. It's pretty damn incredible. You guys probably heard the advanced single All Tongues Toured back in January. But there's a ton of other incredible stuff here. Dawn Vibration, Gardens of Copperlight. He just has so many different styles of play. Like he can riff out like a madman, just get super heavy with things. Other times he'll bring in these unorthodox elements, these like jazzy drum interludes like he has at the end of the Smoke of Their Torment. No matter what he does, this album just finds ways to creep you out and to really scare the piss out of you. It just takes you to a really dark place. Just really creepy, haunting stuff. I love the hell out of it. I'm still trying to digest it, still trying to process it all, but I can tell you right now, I loved it. You will too. That is both Corey and you listeners out there. You'll both love it. Yeah. That's all I got. Scar-Sided, the 6th album from Leviathan. It's out now on Profound Lore. It's on Spotify, so you know what to do.
Yes, I am behind for this week, so I'm looking that shit up right now to see how I can get it.
Something for the plane ride.
Yeah, and look at that. It's at Bull Moose right now. I'll probably walk down there after this and pick it up, just to be completely honest.
There you go.
Oh, it's in stock. Beautiful. Awesome.
Excellent.
$8.
Excellent.
I'm in. All right.
Go Bull Moose.
Yeah.
Go Bull Moose.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get you into one of your albums that you listen to, Helrunar.
Okay.
Or Helrunar. I don't know how it's pronounced. But they dropped a new album called Niederkunft.
Yep.
Now, this is another one. I didn't get a chance to listen to this one, so why don't you take the lead? Tell us about Helrunar.
I will gladly do that. So these are, I guess it's basically a two-piece based out of Munster, Germany, which is, for those that aren't aware, I have to point this out because I'm me. The North Rhine Westphalia region, which is Dortmund territory, so fuck that. But aside from that, it's pagan black metal. That's what they're billed as. But that's not really what I got from this listen. Dan, I mentioned this to you briefly today that it didn't really do a ton for me, but I really gave it a few more listens, and I started to eventually kind of get what they're doing here. It's incredibly dark, an incredible amount of sorrow to it. They bring in a lot of doom metal elements, which I think is more of an adequate category for them. I'm gonna try to go for some song titles here, but I don't speak German as much as I pretend to, so give me some credit. Der Endchrist and Magdeburg Brent are two of the tracks that are, you just think these are more of a funeral doom feel. They bring in some death black metal elements to them, but that's not what they are at their core. Sure, they do bring in, that ridiculous tremolo picking and blast beats that we just, or at least I obsess over whenever I get a chance to. But it's more of like an accent to the album more than anything else. So I don't really think, when I think of like pagan black metal, I don't know if I'm wrong in this, but I think of like pagan music. Come on, the grandiosity of it, the epicness of it, and then black metal. I don't really pick up any doom metal kind of stuff, and that's more of what we get here. There's a really goofy. It's not really an instrumental, but it's close to it. Like break before the last two tracks called Grimmig Todd, which is just has some like these. It's mostly an instrumental, but it has these like ridiculous half-sung, clean spoken vocals that have just, it lacks all the emotion of like the rest of the album. So it's just kind of something you laugh at. It just doesn't make sense, but it is a bit of a respite in that sense, I guess. But yeah, overall, I went through it 3 or 4 times, and I went through a couple times after that, and eventually started to click, and I started to respect it, and they do a lot with this album. It's extremely emotional. It's really dark sounding. It's an album that just immerses its listener in its weight. So I thought it was solid through and through. I really did. Something I'm going to go back to a lot? Probably not. But definitely not something that should get a negative review in any sense. It's definitely a well constructed and well produced album, pretty much start to finish. Aside from that one weird couple minutes there.
Nice.
But yeah, it's fine. It's there's nothing wrong with it. It's good. It just takes a little while, and it needs to be listened to in the right setting, because otherwise it's going to ruin your day. It's that simple.
Fair enough. Helrunar, again, the album is called Niederkunft. Is this on Spotify, Bandcamp? How'd you listen to it?
Well, it's not on Spotify. They have like an EP on there with a few tracks, but that didn't quite cut it. It's on Bandcamp, but just an FYI to the world. The reason I I went through it about 4 or 5 times, but I couldn't listen to it any more than that because Bandcamp eventually cut me off, which was kind of sad. Yeah,
I didn't even know they do that.
I didn't either. It was fucking weird. Like, I went through it, and I went through it again, and then I went back to listen to it like a couple more times today, and it's like, nope, fuck you, give us money. Which I did not do, because I'm sorry, not quite that good. But it is a very cool listen. I mean, if you get a chance, check it out on Bandcamp, go through it once or twice, and you'll get what I'm getting at. It's solid. It's some pretty cool dark stuff, which, is in its own right very respectable.
Nice. Helrunar, Niederkunft, Bandcamp it, but Bandcamp within reason. Seriously. Everyone out there. Yeah, check it out. My next album that I want to talk about, I want to get into the second full-length album from Brooklyn-based experimental post-metal trio Sannhet. It's called Revisionist. It's out now on the Flenser. And god damn, is this thing a massive sounding album. Did you listen to this one, or am I on lead duty again?
Just keep going.
All right.
Just keep going,
all right.
man.
I'll keep the train rolling. Trio. Sannhet is a trio, guitar, bass, drums, instrumental. Completely. No vocals except for the occasional spoken word recording that they kind of interlace into the mix at certain times. You would hardly know it, though. You would hardly know it because this thing is so incredibly dense and massive. I likened it. I wrote a review earlier today on the blog, and I likened it to just being on a ship in the middle of a storm. It feels like waves are crashing around you. It feels like lightning is clapping, wind. It's just this completely immersive, like tempest of an album. Just incredible. There's really nice juxtaposition of heavy moments with calmer ones. It's just going to sweep you away, which is just very impressive. The drums are brought to the forefront a little bit, which is kind of how they do it live. But I'm blanking on the drummer's name. I think his name is Christopher Todd. And he has just these powerful snare drum attacks that sometimes are a little syncopated, sometimes feel a little bit off, but they make it work very well. It just only adds to the overall like chaotic vibe that they give off on the album. And it's really fantastic. I have been through this thing I don't know how many times on Spotify. It's just a terrific listen. Was strong enough to get me to buy tickets to their record release show at the end of the month. I'm going it's at St. Vitus, so that'll be a blast.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I don't know how it's a record release show 3 weeks after the fact. I'm not going to ask any questions, but I'm going. So
metal band scheduling.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be that was my 16th booked concert of the year so far. So getting there. Halfway to 30 and then some. So, Sannhet. The album is Revisionist. It's out now on the Flenser. If you have not checked it out yet, please do so. Pause the podcast and listen to that instead because it's really fantastic. So, closing things up, you had another album you listened to, Corey. I want to hear your thoughts on A Forest of Stars and their new album, Beware the Sword You Cannot See. What do you got here?
Well, first of all, that's probably the coolest album title I've heard all year.
Yeah.
And a band couldn't be pitched to me any better than with the title A Forest of Stars. I mean, come on, world. What are you doing to me here? This is going to be really tough for me to talk about for a couple of reasons. One, because I haven't actually gone through the whole thing yet. It's long, and I just started listening to it tonight, being Wednesday, and because I've had 5 beers during this podcast. So, without further ado, let's... A Forest of Stars, first of all, is a psychedelic black metal band out of Leeds, England. Leeds, known for their shitty soccer club. They were formed in 2007, and this is the 4th full-length. And I will say right off the bat, because of this release, I will be going back to the previous 3 without too much delay. This thing, it's hard to really describe. I've gone through probably about half of it. Same idea. You can check it out on Spotify. They've got like 3 or 4 tracks. Bandcamp has a whole thing, but based on prior experience, I'm willing to bet that eventually they will cut you off as well.
Sure.
Which is a shame, because this is an hour-long listen with 11 tracks, so it's intensive. Like, there's a lot going on here. but I can best liken the music probably to something that falls between Sayor, because they bring in a lot of Sayor's black metal elements in the way they use, some wind instruments, flutes. I think there's like some bagpipes in there or something weird like that.
Neat.
But also like the pace, like just the overall like power to it. But then on the low ends you get like influences from like Pink Floyd and Tool, which is actually a really cool blend. I know last year, early on in this blog and podcast, that being Horns Up, we talked about the Lord Mantis album and how it was kind of like Insanity because of how dark and how evil it sounded. This is kind of Insanity, but in the other direction. Like I couldn't give these guys a better label than psychedelic black metal. That's exactly what it is. If you were to fuse the likes of, I don't know, any symphonic black metal band, Emperor, like the Emperor early years, with Pink Floyd or Tool or something like that, this is exactly what you would get. And it's awesome, and it's addicting. It pulls you right in. The primary vocalist, he sounds a little bit like Gollum, which takes a couple tracks to get used to, but it's really, really cool. And the thing is, what's really interesting is this thing starts with 4 or 5 songs right in a row. They're all around the 7-minute mark. The opening track, Drawing Down the Rain. I encourage all of you, if nothing else, just check this one track out immediately. It's on YouTube. It's a really good example of what this album is. It's almost 10 minutes long, but it covers everything. But then after that, like right when it hits the midpoint, every song is like 3 minutes, like quick hitters. So it's a really interesting. Well, that's because, let's see, the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs are all considered, I guess, like one piece.
Interesting.
Yeah. Part 1, Mindslide. Part 2, Have You Got a Light, Boy? Part 3, Perduabo. Part 4, an Automaton Drift. So that kind of thing. So it's unique, and the architecture of the album is really different. I'm excited to keep picking away at this thing, going further through it. I'll at this point on Friday, you guys will probably have already or are going to quickly be reading my review on it. But so far, it's friggin' amazing. Just an absolutely captivating album. So
sweet.
A Force of Stars. Beware the sword you cannot see. It's a mouthful, but I'm having fun with it.
Nice.
It's a good time so far.
Yeah, I have put that on my list as well. I'm falling a little bit behind on my listening as well. I gotta do. I'm looking at a 3-day weekend in Pennsylvania this weekend coming up, so
nice.
that'll be my catch up time there.
Dude, I hear you. I have a long weekend in Detroit.
Yeah.
Most of that's gonna be spent huddled in my hotel room, so I don't get murdered. I mean, I'm gonna be listening to a lot of metal in those situations.
Anyone out there from Detroit, we love you.
No,
we do.
And that is true. I friggin' have been waiting all my life to go to this city, but I have to at least poke a little bit of fun at it.
It's a little rough and tumble. We'll say that.
It could be Cleveland. Wait, I think it goes the other way around. Doesn't Cleveland say it's not Detroit? Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. We're not Detroit.
Those two are like those two could be on like the South Park episode Cripple Fight if they wanted to.
Oh, they totally could.
Yeah.
Totally could.
Anyway, we have a number of other, as Corey mentioned, we have a number of other album reviews coming up on the site, and that have already published on the site. Manny did some reviews of The Slow Death from Nagura Bungit. Joy did a review of Lamentations of the Ashen. All kinds of stuff. I may try and do a Scorpions review if I feel like, laughing my ass off.
That's a bold strategy.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, hornsupmetalshow.com, click on reviews, or just, go through our homepage, because that's about 80% of our content anyway. It'll be, chances are, if you go to our homepage, you'll find a review. So do that.
It's a really easy game of Where's Waldo.
Yeah. Oh boy. Moving on, let's do our final segment of the week. Let's do Horns Up, Horns Down. Starting with Up. Corey, what do you got this week? What's making you happy?
I mean, aside from just things getting back on track with weather and me going to Boston today, which is always a treat, I got to talk about how not 12 hours after we got back from the Behemoth show on Friday night that I got my Behemoth biography and t-shirt in the mail right at my doorstep. I've gone through it a little bit. It's basically just a recount of the entire band's history with excerpts from lyrics and just interviews, everything. It's really, really fucking cool. Amazing photography in there. It's called The Devil's Conquistadors. And, dude, if I gotta let you borrow this at some point when I'm finished with it because some of the shit in here is absolutely crazy.
Really?
Just like what they went through. I'm not going to give too much away because I've only read like a couple chapters of it or whatever. But it's fucking cool. It really is. I mean, I've obviously been on a rather intensive Behemoth kick. I don't know, most of my life is what I was going to say. And this was, my most recent piece of memorabilia that showed up.
This is now how many Behemoth shirts for you?
Actually, I only have 2 T-shirts and a hoodie, but I also have a football scarf, a couple hats, a polo, and a few other things here and there. All the Behemoth web store belong to me.
Hashtag paying Nurgle's rent.
I don't think I'm the only one either.
Right.
But it's actually a really cool read because they were formed back in like the early 90s when Nurgle was 14 years old. So just to hear about, because right now he's in his 30s, and just hear about everything that's happened over the last 20 plus years, it's pretty fucking intense actually. Because I mean, obviously everybody knows about the leukemia thing. It's not really touched on here. That's more in his autobiography, which I'll have in about 2 weeks probably. But more about the other stuff the band has gone into. I mean, there was also times when Nurgle was on trial for tearing Bibles on stage and shit like that. And it's just really cool to see like what their radical style and radical imagery has basically done to them and for them over their careers. So it's cool. It's a great read. It's a beautiful book. The hardcover and the again, like I said, the photography, the artwork, it's just really cool. Really cool stuff.
Nice.
So that showed up and I'm super excited about it because it couldn't come at a better time.
Nice.
It's that simple.
While we're on that, I'm kind of wondering, like, what did Nurgle sound like as a 14-year-old? Like, how does a 14-year-old do death growls? Like,
have I let you borrow In the Forest Streams Eternally yet?
I don't believe so.
Okay. You can Google it or YouTube it. It's not that hard to find. But he takes it's more of like that black metal vocal style we're used to. It's not like the deep guttural echoing bellows. It's more of like that kind of like high pitched, just in the throat screaming kind of stuff.
Like what's his face from Ghostbath?
Yeah, kind of.
What's his name? Who doesn't have a name?
Yeah, nameless. Yeah, it's just it's higher pitch. You can definitely tell it's just all in his throat. And if he didn't change his style, he probably would have lost use of his vocal cords.
Yeah.
Sorry, beer.
Beer.
But that's
clock.
Beer clock. But that's what it is. It's just you can still tell it's Nurgle kind of, but it's just far, at a completely higher pitch, and it sounds painful to be completely honest, but. In the Forest Streams Eternally, that's where they originally released Moonspell rights. That's the best example I can give you to check out.
Sweet. I will do that. I will consult. My horns up for the week. I got to talk about probably one of the big reasons why I am a little bit behind on my metal listening. My one of my musical heroes, which is kind of embarrassing to say, but I don't care. Noel Gallagher, formerly of Oasis. One of my favorite bands growing up. Noel Gallagher dropped his second solo album this week. It's called Chasing Yesterday, and I just have been completely immersed in it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's probably my favorite non-metal album of the year so far, truth be told. Nothing we haven't heard before. Noel Gallagher, part of his game as a songwriter is lifting melodies and lifting patterns from other alternative rock, classic rock artists, you name it. But he makes them his own. He does his own thing with them, and it's fantastic. I was a big fan of his previous solo album, just called Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, but I think this completely surpasses it. My good friend, our friend of the pod, Kevin Brown, also a big Oasis fan, we were discussing, and we think this is the third or fourth best thing he's ever done. The first two being definitely maybe in What's the Story, Morning Glory, for those out there who are not familiar with Noel. But yeah,
me.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, Chasing Yesterday, just terrific little album. There are some really cool psychedelic stuff. There's some rockers, you name it. Really, really awesome. So that is on Spotify. I highly recommend it. It's a non-metal new release of the week, and it's pretty damn cool. So, moving on, horns down. What's been pissing you off this week?
Your stupid fucking face.
Knew that one was coming. Explain to the listening folks.
I guess I have to, right?
The listening folks. Did I really just say that?
Not
the audience. There's a word for that. The listening folks.
We can't wordsmith well. Damn it.
I'm tired. my improv is off tonight.
You're tired. I'm drunk. It's a delicate balance
Yeah.
that we're trying to utilize here. Anyway, what I'm referring to is, yes, Dan may have a stupid face, but I'm not talking about that stupid face right now. I'm talking about the stupid face he made when we met Behemoth and Cannibal Corpse at the show. Because holy hell, guys, it was all kinds of weird.
It was pretty stupid. I'll admit.
Can you help explain it to me? Like an open mouth, trying to be brutal, but also smiling like a giddy 5-year-old at the same time. It seemed like you. I was trying to make. I think I was trying to make one facial expression, and I gave up before I had completely made it, and moved on to a different facial expression, and it just didn't work at all. You know what? It's totally cool. I cropped you out. No big deal.
That's for the best.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that one picture that was taken back in our college years of our buddy Mike Barnett. And I think it was like a party over on South Campus, and there was a picture, like a completely impromptu picture taken of him like singing to whatever song was playing. And Kevin made, our other buddy, our co-host emeritus, made reference to it being Mike's also getting ass fucked face, but with more emotion.
Oh, come on. That was you're not going to
I'm not saying you looked like that, but I'm saying it in the same way. It was either you trying to be brutal or you trying to be like a stupid happy child. It was kind of a blend of the two.
Yeah.
And also, that picture's amazing. Everybody should go look at that picture of Mike Barnett. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's not on the podcast.
You're right.
We got to get him on, speaking of which.
That'd be fun, actually.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I will be the first to second, I suppose, the first to second that I
wording.
Yeah, that I pulled a stupid face in that picture. And yeah, good. Thank you for the power of cropping, internet and photo editing software, because Corey was able to make the picture look not shitty. By cutting me out of it.
Not only was that excluded from the picture, but I also got to crop out pretty much all of Cannibal Corpse, which I'm also okay with. Sorry guys, I was there for Behemoth. Everybody knows this at this point. It was kind of funny though. It was kind of funny. I remember tagging you in it on like Saturday morning. You're like, nope, we're moving. Oh, well, I didn't realize you felt that strongly in the wrong way about it. That's fine. I don't know. It was fun.
Yeah. And a small negative from an otherwise positive night, I think. Moving on, my horns down. I got to talk about the freaking ordeal that I went through to get back from Portsmouth and Boston on Sunday afternoon. So we grabbed lunch. We grabbed breakfast, I guess, with your roommate. Kind of hung around. I had a 12:30 bus out of Boston. It was shaping up to be a pretty chill day. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I got to Boston and I got on my bus. My bus didn't board I think my bus was like 15 minutes late boarding. And then,
something like that.
Yeah. And then we go about maybe half an hour, get as far as Worcester, and it starts to snow. And it snows. And it snows. And it snows some more. And we hit a rest stop, and there's a steady snow falling somewhere in Connecticut. And keep going. And it's still snowing. And eventually, we have to slow the bus down to about 35, 40 miles an hour just because it's so heavy and there's so much traffic and there's so much snow sitting on the ground that we can't really do our normal routine on the bus. So our should have been 4.5 hour bus ride turned into about 8.5 hours. And I was not thrilled, to say the least. I went through a couple of different movies. I drained my battery on my phone. Thank God I was in a seat with a working electrical outlet. Yeah, it was hell. I know you have done quite a bit of horns downs as far as winter goes. Well, now it's my turn. Fuck winter. It is March. Warm the fuck up.
And I can relate to pretty much all of that with my various bus experiences to New York City, Baltimore, everywhere in between. And when a bus ride goes long, the second it kind of breaches that expected duration, 5 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever it may be, the second it kind of like crosses that line, all of a sudden your mood just disintegrates. It's like all of a sudden you're just a terrible human being. Everything sucks. And let's be clear, folks, going from Boston to New York City should not on a Sunday afternoon take more than 4 hours. It's that simple.
Right.
It's not that far. People should be able to figure the fuck out. But on March, what was it that day? It was March, must have been March 1st. Yeah, March 1st. It was, and we ended up getting a couple inches here. It was like a dusting, but he's like, oh yeah, it's been snowing ferociously since like Worcester. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about at all. I have fucking no idea what you're talking about.
It's just, God damn it, you know? Enough already. Enough.
Yeah, I hear ya. I mean, it snowed here last night while I was writing our retrospective about Vinterland. Fittingly enough, it was snowing, and I was like, it's March friggin' well, like technically it was March 4th because it was after midnight and zombie. But it's like, how is this possible? It's I understand. Winters in the Northeast can go long, and it's not the first time it snowed in March, and it's definitely snowed in April before, but we got murdered in February. Can we just have like a couple weeks of like 30 or 40 degree weather just to remind us of what reality is? Although I'm starting to question if that's actually reality anymore. I don't know. I'm sad. It makes me a little sad.
Yeah.
And that's a lot for me. Because I'm normally just an apathetic human being.
Yeah, you're normally like, your range of emotions is normally either like really happy or really pissed. Sad is a new thing for you.
I know. It's I'm a person of, I don't know, what's the term? Extremes? Yeah, we'll go with extremes.
We'll say that.
Yeah. I have a polar personality. It's either one or the other.
Whatever, man. Whatever. Yeah. Another little mini horns down I got to talk about. What the hell happened to the Portland Timbers home jerseys?
They broke them.
Yeah. This was like the one jersey that did not need to be altered, and they altered it, and I was just like, well, God damn it.
I was people are gonna notice a trend here. I had a few beers last night. And so I saw that article just in my perusing through the interwebs at late night, and I was like, fuck it. It's terrible now. Dan, look at this. And you were like-minded.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not the best. I hope that, like you said, it means that previous years are going to be, I'm not going to say on the cheap because they're never going to be that cheap, but more affordable. Because what they had going for them for the past 2 or 3 years was awesome, and they just broke everything.
Yeah.
I still like that red jersey though.
Yeah, the red one's not bad. And the good news is the cheaper the older ones will be cheaper now. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I need to go back and look through like the rest of the MLS jerseys. But I did notice the new Revs away kit is kind of designed after the New England flag. It's not frag. The New England flag. It's the New England flag based New England Revolution jersey. Looks pretty damn cool. Red, white, and green. It's not bad. It's better than their all white like polo shirt they had before. So
yeah, that
was kind of cool. But Timbers, yeah, they done fucked up.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, anyway, that will about wrap us up. This has been episode 42. Reminder for you guys out there in the internet land, visit the blog, hornsupmetalshow.com for the rest of our content, our retrospectives, our TBTs, our album reviews, you name it, it's all there. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are facebook.com/thehornsup, Twitter and Instagram @thehornsup. For the podcast, we encourage you, if you're not doing so already, subscribe to us on iTunes, subscribe to us on Stitcher, Podbean, you name it, we're there. We love when you guys listen, share with your friends, and tell them to listen. Hooray, listenership. So, yeah, that's it. This has been episode 42. We thank you guys, as always, for stopping by. And remember, live,
love,
plow,
horns up.
We'll see you next week.